I was born ready.
Are you actually ready?
Yeah, I keep hearing noises. Like, are you sucking on a lifesaver now?
I'm done. I'm done with it.
Are you done
Put
with
the toy down.
Toy is done.
What toy do you have?
It's a little piccolo toy.
I don't know what that is.
I got it in one of those blind boxes.
Well, it's a flute you play with, Emily. It makes noises.
Not a... I don't think it's a piccolo.
That's actually what he said.
Piccolo?
From Dragon Ball.
Okay.
Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of Tutor I Hardly Know Her.
And Jeff taking the reins.
Oh, yeah, that's a first for us. I like that.
Well,
Jeff's just tired of our waffling.
She did it last time, so I figured I get to do it this time.
You do?
She's done it like the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, I have. After I was like, hey, Garrett, let's do the thing where we're talking, and then all of a sudden introduce the episode. I determine how this show goes, guys. I am the Henry VIII of this episode. Henry VIII invented podcasts.
And then that would mean Garrett is your Charles Brandon.
Garrett is my Charles Brandon.
Which is the topic of today.
Yeah, son.
Man, Jeff is just getting to the
I
point.
know. Hey, wait. I
Segues.
have... So, one of our episodes where we were talking about the Boleyns, which...
Correct.
Was that the last episode? No. In the episode where we were talking about the Boleyns, I said that Alison Weir kind of continues the theory that Anne Boleyn is... Or that George Boleyn was gay. And one of our listeners, I adore her because she actually went to the book I was talking about and took pictures of it to prove me wrong. So I would like to say that Alison Weir does not perpetuate that George was gay. She addresses the rumor in her book, The Lady in the Tower, but she does not give it credence. So thank you, Stephanie, for telling me how wrong I was. And also, I love you for going to get your book and taking a picture of it to tell me how wrong I was, because that's like something I would do.
It's like a blue moon. Someone actually being corrected on the internet and accepting the correctance.
Yeah,
I was gonna say you took that inaccuracy with grace.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Unlike Henry.
That's something that's been like your hill to die on for a long time, though.
What?
Just saying like, oh, she perpetuates the Smith.
I'm more annoyed with other authors who continue that. Like, I hate that the rumor still happens.
Okay.
All right, are you ready to talk about Henry VIII's version of Garrett? Garrett
Wait, what?
Kaiser Wilhelm II.
What?
He's his best friend. You're our best friend.
Oh.
Yeah. Garrett, jam it. Jam it.
Yes, educate me.
Okay. Oh, hey, wait, hold on. Today, we are recording this on August 22nd. Congratulations on the anniversary of Henry VII defeating Richard III at the Battle of Bosworth. And
You know, this is a day that I wish we all got off.
I mean,
Got off work.
can-
Kids are off school.
In
Actually,
recognition.
keep the kids in school. I don't want to deal with them. And just free ice cream. It's one of those holidays that I feel just should be celebrated.
I'm still waiting for my Hallmark card for it.
all right, me too.
I know. Okay, here's our first not T-shirt thing of merch that we need to do.
Okay, Bosworth Day.
Make fake decorations and Hallmark cards for Tudor holidays.
I'm going to do it.
That really aren't holidays.
Actually,
okay.
I bet you those would sell really well.
Yeah, we'll see.
Let's open an Etsy shop. Also, spoiler.
This is the day Anne Boleyn was beheaded. And
Happy
your grandma
1536
slips you like
week.
$20.
Yeah, there's a whole week to celebrating the misery of 1536. Also, actually, I'll get to this later. Okay, are you ready to talk about Charles?
Yes.
So there once was a boy named Henry, and he had a BFF named Charles.
Hank and Chuck.
That was that Disney movie with Jonathan Taylor Thomas, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
And
That was Huck and Finn.
what were those brothers that were on the Disney Channel movies all the
Hardy
time?
Boys.
You being the twin brothers?
No, there were three
Oh,
of
Zach
them.
and Cody.
There's like Joey.
There's a Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
No.
and then
It
there
wasn't a
was,
show.
you
They
might be
were
thinking of
actors.
Drake and Josh.
No, there were actors. Drake and Josh is Nickelodeon. Get your shit right, Garrett.
The Savage Brothers, Fred and
No,
Fred
there
and
were
Ben
3
Savage?
brothers and they were hot. They were like the Lawrence brothers.
The Jonas Brothers?
Not
Oh,
the
Joey Lawrence. and-
Joey Lawrence. There we go.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was from Blossom.
We got there eventually.
Okay. One of the hot Lawrence brothers is Henry VIII.
You're thinking of Hanson.
No, I'm not. I'm thinking of the Lawrence brothers because one of them took his shirt off a lot, and I'm pretty sure that was my sexual awakening as a child.
To be fair, the Hanson brothers look pretty good now.
Yeah, those chicks were hot.
Okay, hold on. I've relevant image. Here's a picture of the Hanson siblings.
Wow,
can't-
our audience can really see that.
Garrett, I can't look
This
at the.
this makes great for a podcast.
Garrett, I can't look at the picture. I'm stuck on my butt.
Don't worry, Jeff will describe it to you.
Jeff, get up and describe the Hanson brothers to me.
Oh my god.
Do they still have long curtain hair? Okay, let's get back to Charles.
It was just a picture of the Hanson brothers with Daenerys Targaryen like in the background because they all have beautiful long blonde hair.
Oh my god, are they her dragons?
Stop. Okay, we're going back to the we're going back to Brandon, okay?
Ooh, one of them nowadays looks like Bon Jovi.
Or Bon Jovi looks like the Hanson brothers. Okay, guys,
Ooh.
seriously. Stop. Garrett, stop Googling the Hanson brothers. Stop it. Stop it.
I've heard the Manson brothers. It's just Charles Manson and his brothers.
Oh my god, we're so off.
This is the most sidetracked episode ever.
We haven't. I've mentioned the name. I've given you 0 facts besides that he was Henry's BFF.
Jeff, let's see how long we can filibuster.
Guys, this is not the United States Congress. This is the Emily podcast.
Wow, somebody let the
All
thing
right.
go to their head.
You know what? I fell on my butt and it is bruised. I feel like I should be able to determine.
She's going for the sympathy vote.
I am. Give me the sympathy vote. My butt hurts and it is giantly bruised. Yeah? Okay, cool. Hey, guys.
All right.
Let's talk about Chuck. Chuck and Hank. God damn it. Okay. So Charles Brandon was born in 1484. And the reason he ended up in the court of Henry VIII at all is because his dad was good at carrying a stick.
Huh?
Yeah,
Was it a switch?
it was not. Aw. No. Sir William Brandon was his father. And when Richard III was like, hey, I hate my nephews and I want to be king, William Brandon was like, nah, we're not cool with that. So he fled England to support Henry VII, Henry Tudor. And during the Battle of Bosworth, happy anniversary, he was the standard bearer for Henry VII, which means he carried his standard, which was his flag with his symbol.
Oh, okay.
And so he did a really good job at carrying that stick until Richard III shanked him. So he done died. Luckily, he left behind a pregnant wife who gave birth. And then,
I would say luckily.
I mean, lucky for absolutely no one
Fortunately.
because she pulled a Jane Seymour and died in birth. So
So,
Charles
had no parents?
had no, and then his grandfather died shortly after.
Did he become Batman? Oh, wait, no, he became Superman.
No. I want him to be Batman because if his best friend's Henry, that means we get to see Henry wearing Robin's tights.
Well, see,
Wait,
no,
he already wears
because
tights.
in Tudors, he was played by
Henry Cavill,
Henry
who is
Cavill,
Superman.
who's Superman.
Yep. All
Full
right.
circle.
Holy shit.
Okay, so his grandfather died, so he was brought to Henry Tudor's court as kind of a thank you. We appreciate that your father died for us and all that
We
jazz.
present you a gift, a small child.
Yes, so the small child was given to Henry, and
It's like a pet.
he was. And he ended up being educated with Henry VIII and his brother Arthur and the other children. So that was pretty cool that he got a
That's
royal
actually pretty awesome that
for
he got kind of taken
for
in by the family.
son of a knight.
Yeah.
He's the son of a knight. So it was pretty cool.
Was that the old curse back then? Rather than saying son of a gun, they said, son of a knight.
Son of a knight. Yes.
Son of a knight.
So not much is known about his youth besides that he was a lot like Henry. He became pretty tight with his man Hank.
Were they a similar age?
Charles was 7 years older.
Wow, they're that much older?
So he was closer in age to Arthur, but then Arthur pulled a Jane Seymour and died.
I totally thought those two were like.
And he said to Henry, "Well, I had a best friend, but
Actually, Charles was more suited to be Henry's best friend because they had the same interests. Both of them were athletic. They were both devoted to sports. They liked wrestling, hunting,
manly things,
jousting." And I wrote something down.
And
and
that
it
one
looks
episode,
like,
Tutors, I saw, well, then arm wrestling.
Oh, yes. That was when he needed his forgiveness, which I'll get to later. I wrote down what looks like Reading, but... Oh, it's tilting. I'm really bad at writing.
Wow, that's completely different.
Yes. And he was also friendly with Henry because he was like insanely like healthy and strong, unlike Arthur, who was, silent and weak.
And Henry had a really good-looking sister.
And Henry had a really good-looking sister. I wrote, actually, that Charles was like David Beckham. He was the David Beckham to Mary Tudor's posh
With
spice.
the crazy, like, braid hair.
He would totally, oh my God, he would totally have had those side braid things. Charles Brandon would have rocked a man bun. He would have. So Charles was the David Beckham to Mary Tudor's posh spice / Victoria Beckham. However, that man got around. Let's talk about his sexual conquests. In 1505, he was engaged to Anne Brown. And it was one of those, do you take me? Do I take you? Yes. No ceremony, no witnesses. We're married. Let us bang. And remember how last week I said that led to a lot of people being like, that didn't actually happen. Charles was like, that didn't actually happen. And he tried denying it. A year later, they totally slept together because she gave birth to a daughter. And then when Charles was like, that didn't actually happen, he was like, by the way, your aunt's hot, so I'm going to marry her. So he married Margaret Neville Mortimer. Although Anne's family was pissed and they were like, yo, dude, what the fuck? And so nobody took the marriage to her aunt seriously. And in a twist that Henry VIII couldn't have predicted, he remarried Anne. And she had a second daughter and then died. Yes.
There was much celebration.
The marriage to her aunt had been annulled. They got remarried. In 1510, they had the daughter. And then in 1512, she died.
God, no wonder him and Henry got along.
You just wait.
Oh, man, there's more.
But wait, there's more. Okay. So he was Henry VIII's BFF, and he was really smart and really accomplished and a huge charmer, as foretold by his 2 marriages within 2 years. It gets worse. He was given a lot of different positions at court. One of them was the Master of the Horse, and that was in 1513. And then Henry was like, here's some land, and here's some land, and here's some land, and just enjoy all of this land. And then when his wife died, he had a marriage contract with Elizabeth Grey, who was 8, because that's not disgusting. Now, it said it was a marriage contract, so that doesn't necessarily mean they got married and consummated it, but they were husband and wife technically. So he was created Viscount Lisle, and then Henry was like, I'm gonna fuck France up. Charles, go do my shit. And so he sent him to France a lot, and he fought a lot. a lot. Like every time Henry was involved with France in a war-y way, he sent Charles. And actually, they were so close that one of the kings, I think Louis of France, called him the second king.
I can see it.
Yeah. And then Henry was trying to arrange some sort of marriage between the Margaret of Savoy and Charles. And they were Charles and Margaret were flirting a lot. But then Charles was like, we did more than flirt, if you know what I mean. Look at my man bun. And Margaret was pissed. Henry VIII, she was so pissed off that Henry VIII had to actually formally apologize. But then he was like, but it's cool. I'm going to make my man a duke. So he named him the Duke of Suffolk. And he became one of just 3 dukes in England. There used to be more until Henry VII happened. And in fact, Charles was so close with Henry that the rumors in Europe were that Charles and Wolsey were the ones who really ruled England. Because they had so much influence on Henry, they were able to say, do this, do this. Okay, so let's talk about his Posh Spice. Garrett, do you know who Posh Spice is?
Yes, she was one of the Spice Girls,
Yes.
married to David Beckham.
She sang, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. I really want
So
Charles.
tell me what you want, what you really want.
I really,
wanna.
really want a Charles Brandon. I'm proud of that one.
We got there eventually. I was hoping it was just going to be purely a call and response thing, but
No.
we made it in the end. Round of applause.
We got there.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you. Okay, so Mary Tudor was Henry's favorite sister, and she was hella fine. She was very, very gorgeous.
Damn.
Damn, girl. She got that booty. So
Her face was like, yeah, but her behind was like cacao.
So Henry VIII was like, hey, I need some political pawns, and you're a woman, so you go marry King Louis the 12th, even if he is 50 years older than you. And so she was like, okay, Hank, here's the dealio. You are my brother, and I love you. And don't forget, I am your favorite sister. So I will marry King Louis, and I will not be crazy about it. I will not kick up a fuss, but you have to promise to let me marry whom I choose after he dies. And Henry was like, yeah, sure. Just get on the boat.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you say.
So it's possible that she even told Henry before. She's like, okay, I love your buddy Charles. And apparently everybody in court knew that she loved Charles.
I mean, how could you not?
That man bun, though. So Henry was like, yeah, get on the boat. Peace out. So she had a proxy marriage. Did I ever tell you guys what a proxy marriage was?
No, but I think I have
When
an
you got
idea.
in range, you got married?
Garrett, tell us what a proxy marriage is.
You were officially married, but you lived apart?
No. A proxy marriage is when you need to hold a wedding. Do you want to try again?
No, go for it.
A proxy marriage is when you need to hold a marriage ceremony, but both parties can't be there, so somebody stands in for one of the royal couples. I think it's usually a royal thing, but I don't think it necessarily has to be royalty. So in this case, the Duc de Longueville, a Frenchie, he stood in for Louis in a proxy marriage to Mary. So that means that they did the whole ceremony, but with a stand-in.
They could just use a
And-
cardboard cutout.
It gets better.
Stunt groom.
They, quote-unquote, consummated the marriage by laying in bed together, and the Duke touched his naked leg to hers. And they
Oh my
officially...
God. Say it again, but slower.
He touched his naked leg to hers.
We're going to earn that explicit tag.
Yeah, we are. And then they officially had a consummated marriage.
All right.
So
I thought you were going to say that they marinated.
they also did that. I mean, you can do that in a marriage bed.
For those who don't know, marinating.
Oh
Ew,
God,
let's
please
stop.
don't. Do not Google it. For the love of God, do not.
Unless you're talking about,
I mean,
unless
it's-
you need a
it's
chicken
nothing too
marinade,
explicit.
in which case mix soy sauce, honey, and lime juice for the most delicious chicken you will ever have.
Whackity schmackity do.
Wah, wah.
So he literally like, well, I can't make it to my own wedding. You just go to my place and act like me.
Pretty much, and it was pretty common.
Can I bang her for you? No.
No, just touch her leg.
Rub your naked leg on her thigh.
That'd be funny if that even wasn't even part of the deal. The guy made that up just
Okay,
so
but
he
why
could
am
touch a
I
leg.
why am I now picturing that the king is the guy from Office Space where he's like, yeah, I'm gonna need you to go get married for me.
I need you to come in on the weekend.
That would be great.
So after that, Mary went to England or went to France, and she was like, "Hey, I'm Queen of France." Charles ended up going on a diplomatic mission, and even though Mary was all crazy for Charles, she also knew she was queen, and she, acted respectfully and like a queen. And then Louis went up and died, and
What? He died?
there are rumors that he overexerted himself in the bedroom, and that's how he died.
Oh man, rubbing those legs.
They were like crickets. They were just rubbing their legs together.
That was really good.
Thank you.
So Mary then, as French custom dictated, had to spend 40 days alone, both to mourn and to confirm that she wasn't
Typical
pregnant.
French.
I know.
I must mourn. Life is shit. I smoke a cigarette near a baby.
So she had to.
Well, there goes our listenership in France.
Then Mary had to. So she spent 40 days in isolation to make sure she wasn't pregnant.
Oh, that actually
if
can make
she-
sense.
Yes, it does. So during that time, she wrote to Henry. She's like, please, pretty please, like, get me out of here. I don't want to be here anymore.
I just
But
need my
then
chuck.
The new, no, she didn't say that.
Ah.
But then the new King Francis, or Francois, if you're in France, he was like, hey, Mary, I totally understand. You were my stepmother for like 80 days. This is sad. But I heard rumors that your brother's going to marry you to somebody in Spain. And so Mary was like, shit, no, he can't. I love Charles. So she told Francois that she
It's
loved
like, God damn it, not again.
Charles.
I can't kill another one. I mean.
No. So listen to this. Francis, he was like, oh, I can fuck with the Spanish and the English? Okay. So he's like, I'll help you. So Henry sent Charles to France because he wanted him to bring back Mary plus get everything returned that had gone with her. So like her dowry and stuff and her plate and her jewels. He wanted to make sure he got all of it. And then before he left, he's like, hey, also don't forget, you're not allowed to marry my sister while you're there. And Charles was like, I totally got it.
Wink.
Sure.
Like, I'm just imagining Charles on a ship out at sea and Henry on the cliffs of Dover. And he's like, don't forget not to marry my sister. And all Charles hears is,
I can't hear you over the sea.
no, and all Charles hears is, marry my sister. What a wacky misunderstanding.
Wah, wah, wah.
So I wrote Francois, being French, schemed. So he told Brandon to write to Henry and say, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to get her stuff back. And then Mary was in a panic because she was afraid if they went back to England before Charles and Mary were able to, hook up, Henry would sell her off to Spain. So she told Charles, you either marry me now or marry me never. So Charles chose now. How romantic.
I gotta know right now.
And in 1515, they secretly married. And then after a little bit, Charles was like, shit, I gotta figure out how to fix this because Henry's gonna be pissed. So he wrote to Cardinal Wolsey and he's like, hey, I did a thing. Could you help? And people were pissed. Henry might have been angry, but he also might have been like, I'll pretend to be angry, but you're my best friend. And she's my sister, and you're both so good looking.
Dude, we're officially brothers.
Yeah, I bet you he was so excited. But the council was pissed. They were like, he's a nobody. Why would you let him? Why would you allow this? So here's what Henry did. He was like, all right, guys, I have to punish you. Wink, wink. So this is what you need to do. You need to pay back Mary's marriage portion in annual installments. Do you want to know how much they had to pay back? This is 1515, by the way. Do you guys want to know how much he paid back?
How much?
She had to pay back £24,000, which equated, and he said you can do it annually, and you have to pay back £1,000 yearly. So that $24,000 was in installments. But then you also need to pay back £200,000 in 1516. I misspoke earlier. 1516. It's a lot of money. So that was like 2/3 of any sort of money they made. But Mary took the blame. She was like, Henry, I love him so much, and I went crazy, and I love him, and you're my brother. Please forgive me. So Henry was like, all right, you have to beg for forgiveness, but then I'll give it to you. And then she also sweetened the deal by sending Henry the biggest jewel she got from France, which was technically a French crown jewel. And of course, Henry was like, yeah, it's totally fine.
Why popped off?
So then on May 13th, there was a wedding in England for the two of them. So they had a couple children together. Two daughters. Yeah, they had 2 daughters that survived. So then Charles still did a bunch of shit in France, where Henry was like, I'm gonna invade France because I'm bored. So Charles go and cause shit. So then Charles was still really trusted, even though like Henry was pissed at him for a little bit. He was still his buddy, his pal. So when Wolsey fell from power, Charles was pretty happy, because even though Wolsey had helped him with the marriage issue, he still didn't like him. So when he had to go get the Great Seal, did I tell you guys about the Great Seal?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so there are 2 seals that a king would use. There's the Great Seal, and the Great Seal is the giant, it's like, picture a pawn from a chess set, but it's a huge one. Like, you have to hold it with your whole fist, and that's how you stamp official things. And then there's the Privy Seal, which was how you communicated your private stuff, and that was like the king. So Thomas Boleyn held the Privy Seal for a little while, remember? So because Wolsey was his main counselor, he had the Great Seal. But then when he fell, Charles sauntered on in. He was like, I'm going to take that. Unfortunately, he also was in charge of telling Catherine of Aragon that Henry and Anne had married. Charles and Mary didn't approve of Anne Boleyn, and they weren't exactly thrilled with having to be in this role, but they were also so dependent on Henry's generosity that there wasn't much they could do. So Charles had actually warned Henry that Anne had slept with Thomas Wyatt, but Henry was like, nah, it's cool. She's probably totally legit. So Charles was then put in charge of Anne's coronation. So that's like, you're at a wedding, and the best man the night before the wedding is like, I slept with the bride's been sleeping around. And the groom's like, it's cool. You're still going to be my best man though, right? Okay. Or like the best man having to throw a baby shower afterwards. Yeah, let's go with that one. However, the same year, God, this is interesting. So the same year of Anne's coronation, poor Mary Tudor passed away. However, Charles wasn't sad for very long, because that happened in June, and then in September, he married a 14-year-old.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, huh?
Yeah, now you guys are paying attention. Oh. Okay. So he had a son, Henry, of course.
Shot.
Oh, I've got a fun game for you guys later. His son Henry had been betrothed to a ward of Charles, and she was wealthy. And then he was like, fuck, I don't want to lose this money, so I'm going to marry Catherine. So he did that. And they had a couple of children. And fun tie. So he married Catherine Willoughby. Catherine Willoughby's mother, Maria de Salinas, was one of the attendants of Catherine of Aragon. Yeah. I kind of like that little connection. Do you guys want to play the how many children did Charles Brandon have game?
Sure.
Okay. So, he had 2 children by Anne Brown. Guess their names. Their daughters.
Mary and Catherine.
You got one of them.
Anne and Catherine.
Anne and Mary. Guess how many? Okay, so he had 2 sons and 2 daughters with Mary Tudor. Guess their names, and I'm so excited for this.
Henry, Thomas.
No. 2 sons, 2 daughters. So Henry, Thomas.
Edward.
No. Henry was one of them.
Charles.
No.
Not Edward. Not.
You are never going to guess this.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Nope.
Queen Quay.
You ready? So in
All right.
1516, Henry was born. In 1517, Francis, not Ajax, was born. In 1519, Eleanor was born.
Rigby.
And in 1523, Henry was born. He had, it gets better. His first Henry died in 1522 when he was 6. A year later, Henry was born in 1523. He died when he was 11. Then he had 2 children with Catherine. Both were boys. What do you think their names were?
Henry and then another
Henry.
Henry.
Henry and Charles.
He just names them all Henry.
Well, this Henry
Again,
was born.
just like George Foreman.
This Henry was born 6 months after the second Henry died. Well, it gets better. He also had 3 illegitimate children. Oh my God. 1 boy and 2 girls. What do you think their names were?
Henry.
All
No.
3 were named Henry.
No, not Henry.
Charles.
Yes.
Mary.
Yes.
Anne.
Francis.
Come on, guys.
So
Like,
he had
buy a fucking baby book.
so he had two Francises, 2 Marys, 3 Henrys, and 2 Charles.
What the
And a
fuck?
partridge in a pear tree.
Do you think Henry saw all the boys, Henry VIII, and was like, what the fuck, man? What's your secret?
He really wants to get on Henry's good side. This is why he never died during Henry's reign.
He's like, I'm going to keep him around. He's got something manly and potent about him.
I like the name of his children for some reason. Oh my God.
Can you believe that, though? Okay, so here's something, though.
Dad, why'd you name me Henry? Well, your older brother was named Henry, and I miss him terribly so. And
And I missed his older brother and his older brother.
I'm hoping this one's gonna work out for me.
Actually, do you want to hear something super depressing?
So this actually reminds me of
None of his boys made it past the age of 16.
ugh.
Unless the illegitimate one did. I couldn't find anything about them. But his daughter by Mary Tudor, Frances, she married... Okay, I like this connection, and I don't think you guys will get it, but anybody who knows a little bit more about Tudor history will. Okay. So, Edward IV, we're going back to the mid-1400s. He married a commoner named Elizabeth Woodville. Elizabeth Woodville had been married before to a man named Thomas Gray. She had 2 sons by him, Thomas and Richard. One of those Gray sons, I'm pretty sure it was Thomas, his great grandson or whatever, married Mary Tudor's daughter. And then Mary
Okay.
Tudor's daughter carried the bloodline to Jane Grey, who was the 9 Days Queen.
My head hurts.
I know. I thought that was interesting. So if you guys don't get it, it's fine. But our listeners will probably appreciate it. Okay, so Charles actually had a pretty happy marriage with Catherine. They were given a lot more lands by Henry. He was like, this is what's going to happen. Enjoy everything. They invited Henry over to their castles for some Netflix and not chill. And Charles was still pretty involved with Henry's court. He actually was the one who arrested Catherine Howard and got her to confess to, banging another dude. And then all of her other stuff.
Charles was really good at that waterboarding.
Yes, so good. And then Charles died August 22nd, today, 1545. He was 60 years old.
Damn.
Yeah. Yep, he lived a long time. And he wanted a private funeral, but Henry was like, nah, fuck that. And he gave him a huge ass funeral. There was a lot of booze. And that is one of the most proliferous Henry baby makers.
He won the game. He survived Henry VIII.
He did win the game. It's like the ultimate game.
How much longer was it till Henry died after Charles?
18 months.
Oh, so it was actually really close.
Yeah. Besties.
No kidding.
See you soon, bruh.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's really what killed Henry VIII. He just couldn't live without Charles anymore.
Yeah, pretty much.
See, that would have solved all of his
pretty
problems if he just married his best friend.
Those two just got married together.
That
That should have been Henry's 7th wife.
Actually, when Charles died, when Henry King was still married to Catherine Parr, he was like, oh, I see Brandon's wife is a widow now. And there were rumors that he was going to marry her and make her his 7th wife.
Huh.
Pretty strong rumors, too, because you can still read about them today. Don't know how true it is.
Huh.
So that's how you... That's really how you survived Henry VIII. You just had a shit ton of sons and named them all Henry.
Every single time.
Henry 1. It's like George Foreman. I think George Foreman's trying to make sure he just continues to live. Georgia, Georgina, Georgette, George, Jorge.
Like a bad sitcom.
I'm pretty sure all 7 of his sons are named George.
I was going to say, did you guys ever watch King of Queens?
A little bit.
There was a really good episode where, or I shouldn't say really good episode, a really good joke where he's like visiting his parents and they have a dog that he's like, oh yeah, I've had this dog for my entire life. And his wife's like, that doesn't make any sense. That would make this dog like 40 years old. And at the end of the episode, he finds out that this dog named Rocky had died and his parents just keep replacing him. He's like, so this is Rocky 2? I'm like, well, actually, no, Rocky 2 got hit by a car. So this is Rocky 3, and he goes all the way through the Rocky movies. It's great. I love that joke. I don't know why that sticks with me, but I love
There's
it
like
so
that
much.
very similar to that in Community with Troy. He's like, yeah, my parents had a cat named Troy, a dog named Troy, a fish named Troy. They're all older than me.
I love that joke. So yeah, that's Charles. It's pretty cool to think about because he seemed to have lived a pretty happy life, and the worst thing the biggest trouble he ever got in was marrying Henry's sister, and I think he knew he'd just have to do some sort of penance. It's not like Henry would have beheaded him, which is amazing because Henry's niece or great niece or something like that, Margaret Douglas, tried to marry somebody, and the somebody was like tortured or beheaded or something because he tried to marry into royalty. And that was just the king's niece, not his sister.
How long was Charles and Mary together?
About 16 years because they married in 1515 and she died in 1533. So
Okay.
17 years.
I'm always trying to like line up the times.
Wait,
and
is that
dates.
17 years or 12 years?
They were married what year?
15. They were together for 18. Wow, I'm bad at math. They were married for 18 years.
Oh, okay. That's actually
Yeah.
a decent amount of time for
Yeah,
them. Especially
I mean,
for some guy who's been married many times and she was married.
I know. And then he married Catherine Willoughby. Although he was married to Catherine Willoughby from 1533 to 1545. Yeah. So they were
Man.
married for almost 20
Impressive.
years too.
Seriously, like he and Henry just with the whole having wives thing.
No,
just-
he was only married to Catherine for 12 years. Yeah, it I never realized. I knew he was married at least twice. I had no clue he was married
he was twice.
many
Twice.
times. Yeah, he had a really weird. I think back then you just got married when you were bored. So,
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it after last week's discussion.
Hey guys. One of our listeners suggested we do an episode about conspiracy theories of the Tudor times, and I am pumped.
Yeah,
We're doing it.
love stuff like that, so let's do it.
Okay, so next week is our Game of Thrones special. So it's going to be full of spoilers, guys, but I have a buddy at work who I talk to about Game of Thrones, and every week I'm like, when this happened, it reminded me so much of when Queen Elizabeth did this. And he is like, Emily, I don't know history. So we're going to do a whole episode about that. It's going to be, so you'll see like the actual history in Game of Thrones and where it comes from. There's a lot of the Wars of the Roses. You can definitely see some Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon, Henry VIII and Elizabeth Tudor stuff happening in
I've
there.
already seen a lot of Lannisters in history already.
Yes. So we're going to do that episode, and then we'll do conspiracy episode.
Cool.
Does that sound good?
I got to catch up to Game of Thrones.
Yes, you do.
Man,
I know.
How far
life is
behind
so
are you?
difficult.
I have not seen any of this season.
How have you
okay.
made it? Everybody's talking about it. Like, do you know anything that's happening? No spoilers.
Here's the thing. Okay, so one thing got spoiled for me. But here's the thing. Like, the only thing that's like, I mean,
Don't spoil it for others if they haven't watched
I
it.
can-
no,
edit it
I'm
out.
not going to spoil shit for anybody. But, like, I don't know. It kind of lost me towards the end of the last season.
Seriously?
I don't know. I mean, I really liked it when it first started. And maybe it's just, I don't know. Here's the thing, though. Nothing else matters because Twin Peaks is airing right now, and it's fucking phenomenal.
Okay, that's cool, but I can't do a Twin Peaks episode.
Okay, I will do the Twin Peaks episode. We had a listener say something about they would love to hear me do a Twin Peaks podcast. You and me, let's get together. Let's do it.
I would listen to your Twin Peaks episode.
Just one episode of Tudor I Hardly Know Her is going to be Twin Peaks I Hardly Know Her.
And still no one know what's going on.
Yes, and I'll just break down the entirety of what happened in this season.
There's just random saxophone playing in the background, and then someone starts talking backwards, and then someone really enjoys some damn good coffee.
Has some damn good coffee.
David Bowie shows up randomly.
What?
Yeah, he was in the movie. It was great.
What? There was a
says-
movie?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not
they
very
did a
good.
movie that's like a prequel, sequel kind of thing. And David Bowie shows up, screams a couple of words, and then runs away.
I thought that was just what David Bowie did.
He can do whatever he wants.
Well, he
not now
could.
because he's dead, but
No, he actually still could if he really wanted to.
He could come back to
really
life
could.
if he
chose to
wanted.
die. He didn't have to. He chose to, and
Yeah,
then
he
he's
could
going to
come
come
back
back
to
when he
life
wants
if
to.
he really wanted to.
Starman himself.
Yep.
He's a starman. Okay.
Anyway,
Hello, everyone,
Anyway.
and welcome to Bowie Talk.
sidetracking. This sidetracking has been brought to you by Audible.
Not yet. Soon.
Soon. So anything else about Charles? I'm trying to.
No.
I mean, besides
funny
having
because,
a
like,
crazy sex life.
Okay, so I have a book, and actually, Jeff, I'm really glad I started researching this because there's a book I've been wanting about Charles and Mary. I think it's just called The Brandons, and since I have to get a Kindle book for our vacation, I'm buying that. So I will give everybody a review about that book when I'm done with it. It's amazing. Or it will be amazing. I have no doubt. So that's it.
That gives me an idea. We'll talk about it after the podcast.
Woohoo!
Okay.
So guys,
All right, so
find us on Twitter at Tudor Know Her. Engage in conversation with me. Tell me how wrong I am about everything. And if I agree with you that I am wrong, then I will acknowledge it. Also, ask me questions. Tell me what you recently learned. Offer episode suggestions because I love that.
Tell me I'm pretty.
Tell me I'm pretty, even though I have a bruised butt. And find us on Facebook at just the page Tutor I Hardly Know Her. And of course, leave us reviews. It's cool for us to see the reviews, but then it also helps people who also love the Tutors find out about us. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, sorry, I feel like I was really fidgety today, so if that picks up on the mic and in the recording, if anybody's still listening at this point,
It's just
I
you.
am
I
sorry
know
about
it's
that.
just you playing with Piccolo.
I was supposed to get a mic stand from Jeff and Emily, and I forget it every time I see them.
It's because we want you to come down to us every
Oh,
single
Garrett,
week.
you forgot the mic stand. You got to come back.
Yep.
All right. Well, then, until next time, right, guys?
Until next time.
Divorce,
beheaded,
beheaded,
died.
died.
Divorce,
Divorce,
beheaded,
beheaded, survived. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Have a good night.